I hope that on my wedding day, and he knows the cost, he knows how much pain it was for me to wait, that he would love me even more for the fact that I sacrificed for him. And I was reading this quote by Max Lucado, and it says, you value something especially the more you wait for it. So you think about the things you're willing to wait for to achieve in life, whether it's an Olympic gold medal. If you're willing to wait every 4 years for an Olympic gold medal, you're putting a lot of value on that. So imagine me when I meet my husband, hopefully he sees that like I truly loved him before I met him, to be able to refrain. So really just want to encourage a lot of the people who are single, who are lonely, who are frustrated, to just continue to press on, not be discouraged, and try to find hope and faith in the daily, because I know that it gets hard out there and you get frustrated. So I guess I'll ask you a few questions before I leave. What do I look forward to most this year? I think basically the main thing I'm looking forward to this year is just answers, because I have been in a season where I've been praying to God for him to just open doors or close them. I don't care if he closes the door. I just need answers. I feel like I've been praying for track and field, and there was one year I walked away from track and field. I was like, you know what, God, I don't think you want me to run anymore. And so I called up my agent and I said, okay, I'm done with track. And my agent called up every TV network, like ESPN had offered me a job in the past, NBC, and he called up all those people, and one by one, they were all like, oh, sorry, that job is filled. We no longer have that job. We love Lolo, but the job is no longer available. And so I was like, what? Like, you guys just wanted me to work for you, and now it's gone. And then, lo and behold, God opened up a sponsorship, and I was able to continue to be an athlete. So I was like, okay, so God wants me to be an athlete. Well, then you fast forward, and I just got dead last in my first race. So I was like, okay, God, I'm a bit confused, because you close the doors on the TV, but then you open the doors for being an athlete, but then I get hurt and I'm dead last. Like, what do you want me to do here? So I think what I'm most looking forward to is whatever season God wants me in, just knowing with clarity that's where he wants me at. And I also am looking forward to like just a new season of not being single. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm so tired of going on these bad dates. I'm so tired of getting to know another guy after another guy, and it's just not working out. I'm over it. Like, I'm over the dating scene. So I can't predict the future, but I really am looking forward to the moment where I'm with my husband and I can look just like this, and we're just watching reality TV shows or sports, and that's the night. So that's my ultimate goal. Trying to see some of these other questions. This one I get a lot, actually. Do I want my future husband to be a virgin? He doesn't have to be a virgin, but he definitely has to be celibate or not practicing having sex. Like, at this point in life, I'm not going to be dating a guy that doesn't believe it. Like, if he believes it's okay to have sex, have premarital sex, like, that's just not a good fit for me, because I have obviously waited, and I don't believe. I believe that having premarital sex, there's tons of consequences to it. And a lot of people don't think there are consequences to premarital sex. There's actually consequences to just even cohabiting, living with someone before marriage. Actually increases your chance of divorce by 50%. And that's just living with someone of the opposite sex. So can you imagine the emotional ties of having sex with someone that you're not going to marry? It's like you carry all that baggage into your relationship. So I just would like him to be celibate and understand the consequences of that. And I know it's hard for a lot of people who are having sex, who believe that cohabiting doesn't really do anything, because they think it's coming off as judging. Well, if you remove the faith base of this aspect at all, there are scientific studies that show that cohabiting actually does increase your chance of divorce. And there is a detrimental impact to all that. So I don't know, like, even if you're not a faith-based person, probably just consider the consequences of living with someone before marriage. So, but definitely don't want to be too preachy, but that's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting because my mom, she never got married. She never got married. She was with my dad for 20 years. They have basically what's a common law marriage. If you're with someone long enough, it's called a common law marriage. And she had 5 kids, never married. And I think that was a part of the reason, but also my faith in God. And I just saw all the consequences of that, of her being with my dad for so long, them never actually getting married. And I know that there's Christians out there that get married and they still have divorce. Like, it's not a perfect world. It's not me saying that I'm waiting. It's not going to guarantee that I'm never going to get a divorce or I'm never going to have marital problems. But it definitely significantly increases my chance that my marriage will be successful. And with the divorce rate as it is, I want to try to do that as best as I can. So I just want my virgin. I just want my husband to be on the same page as me. Like, he doesn't have to be a virgin. I've talked to a ton of guys in the past that are not virgins. I've actually talked to guys who have kids, but they were faith-based and they understood the consequences of basically what a lot of churches are not really talking about nowadays. So that's honestly my premise behind it, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to think, what other questions you guys have? A ton of questions. A lot of these guys, a lot of them are like weird stuff. So asking about candy corn and this is more just what's my biggest pet peeve that I have. I don't know if you're talking about for me or like the person I'm dating, but for me, the biggest, I'll say the biggest flaw I have is I'm very quick to get angry. I don't know if it's because I've never had a real job in my life. So I'm an athlete and my job is based on emotion and performing, and sometimes it's better for me to be angry and I perform better, but I'm very quick to get angry and I wish I did not have that flaw. So, just reading some of the comments that are coming through. Would I date someone shorter? I have. A lot of people assume I only date athletes. That's not true. I actually went through a phase where I did not want to date an athlete at all because I felt like an athlete was too much fire with fire. So, but since the Kevin Hart thing has happened, I have gotten a ton of DMs, some of them rude, and then a lot of people just asking for like date requests, which is not going to happen because I don't even care if like who's a really good looking celeb. Think of the most good looking guy celeb, and if he slid into my DMs right now, I most likely would not want to go on a date with him because I'm 6 months out from the Olympic trials. So I'm a bit stressed. Someone just asked me in the comments what my favorite memory of Kobe is. Like I said, I only hung out with him twice, so I don't really have a favorite moment because they were both brief encounters. The first time I met him was at the Olympics in London, and he was with all the Team USA basketball players, and they were just taking pictures with everybody. So I just took a picture with him before the opening ceremonies, before we walked out onto the stadium for that lap. And then the second time I met him was at the Players Tribune party, which was for the ESPYs. And he was much more relaxed then. It was like he had his guard down and was like super chill. But I think what I'm most impressed by Kobe is the fact that I know people look up to him for his accolades as an athlete, like amazing athlete. But I feel like his life was just starting because he was doing so much in the business area. He was directing films, he was writing books, and he was really helping women's sports in a lot of ways. I don't think a lot of people knew about that, but with his daughters, I think that put a huge influence on him wanting to change women's sports. And he was a huge supporter of women's soccer, basketball. Like I thought he was going to just really do some incredible things. And it's just a shame to see it cut short. I think as an athlete, we live such strict lives. When we're training, when we're competing, we really don't get to be creative or start new endeavors. And since his retirement, he was exploding. He was doing so many things in so many different avenues. And I was just really excited as he was just starting all these new projects. And so for me, I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just felt like, it was just frustrating to see it cut short. Really frustrating. So, yeah. So that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining my live. Normally I'm more funny, but I guess with the heaviness of the last few days, it's not there tonight. I'll come on another time and be more funny. Apologies, but thank you so much I'm glad I was able to share why I'm waiting, and thank you everybody who sent me a DM. I'll try to respond to as many as I can, or write on your pictures and like your photos. I try to do that as often as I can. I was going to post tonight, but like my heart's just too heavy. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys have a very blessed week.